Good day, everyone. Our topic for today is all about post-war intervention toward agrarian reform in the Philippine history. So, in this topic, we are going to share to you about how the government helped the farmers or our agriculture to maintain its highest posture. So, we are going to share to you about the law to help our farmers, our land ownership, and etc. about the agrarian reform. So before we proceed to our topic, which is agrarian reform, I am sharing to you a quote relate from reading in Philippine history. So, the land is the only thing in the world worth working for, worth fighting for, and worth dying for. So it explains that our land is full of history. So if it is full of history, why not we are working for it, we are fighting for it, and worth dying for it. So it is what it is. So before we proceed to our main topic, which is agrarian reform, I am going to talk to you about the history of it. So in the past, the Spaniard replaced the traditional system of land ownership. So dito makikita na unti-unting gumagalaw ang mga gobyerno para tulungan ang mga magsasaka para tumaas ang lang sahod at maging bigyang pansin sila. So in the 1935 Constitution, they addressed the issue of foreign access to the land. So binagyang pansin talaga ng mga gobyerno ang mga agrikultura natin at mga magsasaka natin. So they share from 50% to 70%, but very little of these laws or really followed in this practice, and the Hawke Rebellion was born. So nakikita dito na ang history ng agrarian reform ay unting-unting sumisigla at binagyang pansin ng mga gobyerno natin. So makita ninyo na sa panahon ni President Ramon Magsaysay, further pushed this reform, so creating the Land Reforms Act of 1955 and establishing the Agricultural Tenancy Communication to provide support for tenant farmers. However, this effort faces significant resistance from landowners and were hampered by inadequate funding and enforcement. This period laid the groundwork for later more comprehensive reforms but failed to fully address the deep-rooted issues of land inequality and rural poverty. So dito makikita na sa panahon ni Ramon Magsaysay ay hindi pa planado or hindi pa plansyado ang law na ito. So sa panahon ni Rojas ay nagsagawa siya ng rehabilitation and rebuilding after the war was focused on providing solution to the problem of the past, and were initiated to address post-war rural issues, particularly landlessness and tenant exploitation. So the Agricultural Tenancy Act of 1946 was introduced to regulate landlord-tenant relations and provide security for tenant farmers. So nagsagawa si Rojas ng nagsagawa siya ng batas na protektahan ang mga farmers laban sa mga exploitation sa mga mananakop na ito. However, its implementation was limited due to string opposition from landowners and a lack of mechanism to enforce the law effectively. While it marked an early attempt to addressing agrarian concerns, these efforts rarely fell short of meaningful form. So mababasa niyo dito ang 70-30 sharing arrangements. So ang 70-30 sharing arrangement was a tenancy arrangement during the post-war period in the Philippines, where 70% of the harvest went to the landowners. So ang 70% na na-harvest ng mga magsasaka ay mapupunta sa nagmamayari ng lupa at nagtanim at nag-harvest at nagtatrabaho sa mga animals. So this system heavily favored to the landowners and left tenants with insufficient resources to improve their livelihoods. It became a major issue. So it is a major issue in agrarian reform effort. So it is perpetuated inequality in the tenant exploitation.
Under President Elpidio Quirino's term, the Land Settlement Development Corporation was established to address land distribution issues and improve the lives of peasants. Its main goal was to accelerate and expand resettlement programs, offering landless farmers opportunities to cultivate land and enhance agricultural productivity. This initiative aimed to reduce poverty, promote rural development and resolve land-related conflicts. Under President Ramon Magsaysay administration, the Land Settlement Development Corporation evolved into the National Resettlement and Rehabilitation Administration, or what we call NARA. Recognizing the need for genuine land reform, Magsaysay prioritized addressing the plight of landless farmers, and despite opposition from Congress, dominated by landed elites, he successfully pushed for legislation to improve land reform, aiming to distribute land equitably and uplift the rural poor. Republic Act No. 1199, or the Agricultural Tenancy Act, was enacted to regulate the relationship between landholders and tenant farmers. It aimed to protect tenants' rights and enforce fair tenancy practices. And in 1955, the law established the Court of Agricultural Relations to enhance tenancy security, set fair land rentals, and resolve disputes between landowners and peasants' organizations. And under President Ramon Magsaysay, the Agricultural Tenancy Commission was created to resolve tenancy issues, while the Agricultural Credit and Cooperative Financing Administration, or ACCFA, supported farmers with storage facilities and marketing assistance. And during his term, the Agricultural and Industrial Bank was established to provide easier access to homesteads and farmlands, and the NORA program accelerated the resettlement and distribution of agricultural lands to help landless farmers and tenants in improving their livelihoods. So the efforts were made to resettle Hokbalahap rebels in peaceful communities and improve farmers' lives through agrarian reform. However, these efforts failed due to a lack of funds for support services and resistance from wealthy landowners.
During the administration of Diosdado Macapagal, during President Diosdado Macapagal's term, as a significant advancement in land reform occurred with the enactment of the Agricultural Land Reform Republic Act No. 3844. This code aimed to address the long-standing issue of the tenant farmers and land ownership in the Philippines. Primary source declaration of policy under RA No. 3844, or Agricultural Land Reform Code. Source Section 2 of RA 3844. Section 2 of RA 3844, the Agricultural Land Reform Code, outlines the policy of the state regarding and reform the Philippines. Next, to establish owner, cultivatorship, and economic family-sized farm as the basis of Philippine agriculture, and as a consequence, divert landlord capital in the agriculture to industrial development. So, this process of establishing owner, cultivatorship, and diverting landlord capital is a key example of the policy outlined in the agricultural and now become cultivators owning the land they farm and having greater control over their crops and income. To achieve a dignified existence for the small farmers free from pernicious institutional restraints and practices. So, small farmers who has been struggling to make ends meet due to unfair contracts with middlemen who dictate prices and take a large share of their profits. To create a truly viable social and economic structure and agriculture conducive to greater productivity and higher farm incomes. So by implementing these change the code aim to create a more sustainable and prosperous agricultural system that benefits both farmers and the community. Next, to apply all labor laws equally and without discrimination to both industrial and agricultural wage earner. So the Agricultural Land Reforms Code RA 3844 aim to ensure that all workers, regardless of whether they work in factories, industrial, or on the farms, agriculture had equal access to the same labor protection and rights. Next, to provide a more vigorous and systematic land resettlement program and public land distribution. So, aim to create a more organization and effective system for resettling farmers and distributing public land. Next, to make the small farmers more independent, self-reliant and responsible citizen, and a source of genuine strength in our democratic society. So, since the code aim to make small farmers not just productive members of the agricultural sector but also responsible and contributing members of the broader Philippine society. Next, this code abolished shared tenancy in the Philippines and prescribe a program to convert tenant farmers to leases and later on owner cultivators. So the code aimed to eventually transition these leases into owner cultivators, giving them ownership of the land they work. This was a major step towards empowering farmers and creating a more equitable agricultural system. Next, it also aimed to free tenants and emphasize owner cultivatorship and farmer independence, equity, productivity improvement, and public land distribution. So improvements through better farming practices and access to technology. The code also emphasized the importance of public land distribution and making land available for those who did not own it, further promoting farmers and independence and a more equitable agricultural system. Congress did not make any effort to come up with a separate bill to fund its implementation, despite being one of the most comprehensive pieces of land reform legislation ever passed in the Philippines. And even though it proved beneficial in the provinces where it was pilot tested. So, comprehensive land reform law passed in the Philippines, aiming to improve the lives of farmers and restructure the agricultural system. Despite its potential and positive results in pilot programs, Congress failed to provide dedicated funding through a separate bill. This lack of financial support hindered the code's full implementation, its ability to achieve its goal.
So that's all for our topic in the history of agrarian reform in the Philippine history. So hoping na meron kayong natutunan tungkol nito at meron kayong natutunan about sa law at paano tinulungan ng gobyerno ang mga magsasaka, mga landowners, mga nga tenets tungkol sa agrarian reform at paano nito pinalakas ang agrikultura natin. At yun lang po, maraming salamat.